Hello, everyone, and Ramadan Kareem. Thank you all for joining. Happy to see this number, and of course, we'll be anticipating more people to join. So we will go slow, and of course, it's going to be light, it's going to be very enjoyable, nothing too heavy, and hopefully, you'll like today's webinar. So here we go. All right, so before I start, I'd just like to give a little bit of an intro and say that Ramadan obviously is a very important time of the year where people try to focus on themselves and also on their own health. So it's a great time to take this chance and pay some attention to ourselves physically and mentally, which makes it a good time to dig a bit deeper into our habits, our food intake, especially that we're surrounded by like so many events, gatherings, and socializing with different people, and it all revolves like around food mainly, let's say. So first, we're gonna start by talking about the benefits of fasting. So fasting, first of all, increases longevity, and for people who have high LDL triglycerides, it also helps in lowering them. So it's beneficial for your lipid profile. It could decrease inflammation and the risk of cancer. It's good for the brain health. And it turns on the process of autophagy, which is like when our cells, they recycle the waste material, eliminate or downregulate the wasteful processes, and repair themselves. Increases mental well-being and clarity, as I previously mentioned. It helps with weight loss for people who have weight loss goals. They take Ramadan as a great chance to do that. And obviously, it also uses your body fat for fuel. And how does that happen is through like the following. So what happens to our body during fasting? So first of all, the body enters a fasting state 8 hours after your last meal. So after your gut, your tummy finishes absorbing the nutrients from the food. So the body glucose stored in the liver and muscles is the main energy for the body, for you. So during the fast, this is what gets used first. So this is fasting, by the way, also like in general. We're not just speaking about like Ramadan. This also what happens during like intermittent fasting. First, what's used is the body glucose. Then later in the fast, once the glucose is running out, the fat is the next source. So the prolonged fast of many days over weeks, the body starts using the protein as energy from muscle. This is why we don't reach that phase, and especially during Ramadan, because the fast is broken daily. Obviously, when the fasting is too long, then that turns into starvation, and this is what we're not looking for. And this is why intermittent fasting on like too many hours or on the long term could then start affecting your muscles. So it's important to know what's the correct window. So in terms of Ramadan, we're definitely unlikely to reach that. But what could help us with weight loss or fat loss is reaching this point where our body starts using fat for energy. Obviously, there are some people who should not attempt to fast because that could like affect their physical like system and health very adversely. People with diabetes type 1, anyone with chronic renal failure, severe cardiac pulmonary conditions, gastrointestinal bleeding, ulcers, people with severe epilepsy, severe migraine, and anyone who like your doctor advised you not to fast, please don't go over your doctor's advice. The doctors know best. Traveler on a journey, as you all know, women during menstruation, pregnant and lactating women, and I highlight lactating women because it could really affect the amount of breast milk for your baby. So please take care. Try, please, not to fast. And pre-pubertal children, of course, there are some children who might like ask you like, please, can I fast? But if they're too young, please don't let them do that because they're in a stage where their body needs nutrients, they need to grow. So, and they're obviously like excused from that. Now to get down to the main stuff we're here to talk about. So we're gonna talk about eating healthy and healthy habits and what to include on your plate, from breaking your fast to suhoor. So breaking your fast, when you're coming to break your fast, you need to focus on hydration and a healthy, steady digestion. Why do I say that? Hydration, of course, because it's been many hours, you haven't drank anything, water especially, and your body is starting to get dehydrated. And why am I saying healthy, steady digestion? Is again because the body's been without food for so long. So we don't want to like shock it with like a sudden big amount of food. So we need to focus on a healthy, slow digestion. So as you know, first you can break your fast with 1 to 3 dates, depending culturally what you follow. To hydrate, start by drinking a cup of water slowly, a cup or two. It could be, try not to rush anything. Three, my advice is to ease into iftar. So like when you're going to like about to start with iftar, it's preferably that you start with a soup and a fresh salad, or a fresh salad with like a light dressing. Soup, again, it's good for like our hydration. Again, it starts the kicks off, let's say, the digestion process in a steady way, and salad as well does that because the fiber from the vegetables, it allows for a steady digestion. And my last tip is to also don't cram all your calorie intake into iftar, and to spread your food intake over the non-fasting hours. I know it's very difficult when you've been fasting for a long time. Like the only thing you can think of is food. I'm hungry. I need to eat. So it's very important here to be mentally strong. Remember that, okay, I have several hours to eat. I don't need to like overindulge, overstress my body, my system, my gut into digesting all of this food at once. Yes, I have like a lovely spread in front of me, but I've also got the time, the chance to take it easy. Uh, then preparing your iftars. So to prepare your iftars, before like jump exactly into details during iftar, first I would like you to think quality, not quantity. So let's try to think about exactly what are we going to put on the table. To try to be spiritual and humble in that sense that uh, let's try to remember the purpose of like Ramadan is to, obviously there are many reasons of why we are fasting, but one of them is to be humble, to feel with the poor people. So sometimes it's not like necessary to like over prepare food and then like throw food away and have like a huge spread every single day. Yes, it's nice, it's lovely to socialize, to invite people over, but it's not a must like to for this huge spread to happen every day. It's important to pay attention to ourselves, our spirituality, think about like food, about the people who don't have access to food. And like if we get like an excess of our meals, to try to donate and feed other people. So don't exhaust yourself again, because when, let's say, you're cooking or preparing the meals, you're also at a fasting stage. So you don't want to reach a point where you're too exhausted, then you're sitting at iftar, you're also not trying not to enjoy, you're too tired. So take your time, take it easy, plan your Ramadan menu early on. It will be great if you can. This saves you a lot of time, by the way, and saves you from shopping unnecessary items. When you plan, like at the beginning of the week, okay, this week I'm gonna do this for iftar. I'm gonna cook this, I'm gonna cook that, and then write down a shopping list. Because what happens during Ramadan is also we shop while we're hungry. We go to the supermarket and we buy loads and loads of extra food that we don't need. So let's try to set like a grocery list. Think of the coming week. What am I doing? What gatherings do I have? Am I cooking at home? Am I going out? And if I'm cooking at home, what items do I need? What dishes can I make? What can I eliminate? And what can I prepare in a healthier way? So narrow down your options. Again, keeping too many options leaves the door open to you overcooking, overexhausting yourself, over shopping, etc. So when it comes to preparing your meal or what to choose during iftar, it's about, first of all, in terms of carbs, you need to try to choose the whole grains and the complex carbs. Complex carbs, whole grains like brown rice, whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta, vegetables, quinoa, buckwheat, millet, bulgur, all of those, frike. And why do I highlight those again? Is because fiber from vegetables, fiber from the complex carbs, it insulates the tummy. And when it insulates the tummy, it allows for a slower digestion. So when a slower digestion happens, this means we're not also affecting our blood sugar in a way where it's gonna like raise up and then crash, because this is what happens when we eat processed carbs, when we eat refined carbs, simple sugars, like again, like let's say white rice, white bread, chocolates, desserts, pastries, all of those items. What they do is that they spike up your blood sugar. After the spike happens, your blood sugar crashes. So this is when you would also feel so lazy or so like stuffed and lazy after like the meal. You'd want to sleep, you'd have no energy. So on the other side, if we focus on complex carbs, due to the healthy digestion that happens, the blood glucose is not affected in such a way, and it stays balanced. And stays balanced means that we also keep up our energy, keep up a healthy digestion, feel full for a longer time. So this is why it's important to try to focus on complex carbs. And in terms of proteins and fats, so in terms of protein, try to focus on lean proteins. Like for example, if you're eating chicken, usually the chicken breast is the best part with the lowest fat. Try to remove the skin. That decreases the amount of fat as well. Buy extra lean red meat, like ask for it to be done low fat, as the butchers say, where they trim away the white fat. And try to include sometimes vegetarian protein. So to give your body a break from digesting animal protein and animal fats every single day, it's really good to try to include 1 or 2, let's say, vegetarian days during the week. That's very beneficial. And the legumes are also uh, zero in fat content. And stay away, in terms of fats, let's stay away from fried and oily foods. Again, I'm not saying nothing is like not allowed. I'm just giving you the tips of how our iftar spread can be healthier. So just try to stay away like from or limit the fried foods, the oily foods. Even when you're eating salads, focus on a light dressing, because sometimes we think, oh, I'm eating salad, it's very healthy, but it has like loads of mayonnaise or heavy Caesar or ranch dressing, or a lot of pomegranate molasses. Like don't feel how much calories actually goes into the dressing, but there's a lot. And those are like, could be hidden sources of extra calories that you're intaking without even like feeling it. And of course, what's very advised is to prepare healthy versions of your dishes and desserts, to cook with less oil and use less sugar. Like, it's very well known that sometimes when you add oil or butter or ghee, it's to give a better, let's say, a more dense taste to what we're cooking. But this is not like what's needed. If you want to think health-wise, especially if you're someone who has like uh, high cholesterol or diabetes or hypertension or any like chronic condition, it's very important to watch the way we cook the food, because again, this could add a lot of calories. It could affect the blood sugar. It could affect the fats in our body. And then it's like, oh, I don't know how, like, I gained weight, or I don't know how my sugar went up. Well, it's from the way you prepared the food. So if we're preparing desserts, maybe try to substitute to brown sugar, use less sugar. If we're preparing food that needs, like, obviously to add oil in cooking, let's try to just decrease the amount of oil, because fats in general have more than double the calories than carbs and protein. So let's keep that in mind. And to use healthy preparation methods, to focus like on more like grilling, steaming the foods, or maybe like grilling in the or baking in the oven. That would be much better than going to like fry the foods, so on and so forth. Like the samosas, you can maybe try baking them in the oven instead of frying them. Very like simple example. At iftar, so again, since we're always sitting in front most of the time, a good spread, or at gatherings, choose wisely. Try to take like a minute to have a look at the table. What's there? Okay, what can I choose? This is maybe I don't need this. Maybe I can put a little bit of salad first, and then maybe some rice and some stew. Maybe I don't need to also have from that. Like, so try to choose in a smart way, and to control your portions. Again, because we're hungry, we tend to just sit and we want to like, yeah, put from this, put from that, and we end up like having a big plate in front of us, especially if we're going to iftar buffets and all of that. So it's very important to try to control your portions. Remember to control your portions. Make sure your plate is colorful and balanced. Why am I saying this? When your plate is colorful, this means that you're taking in different amount of, or different, sorry, vitamins and minerals. When your plate is mostly like one colored or have similar colors, it means there's a certain set of vitamins, minerals you're taking into your body. But the more colorful your plate is, the more vitamins and minerals you're giving yourself, which definitely benefits you. And when I say balanced, this means again that let's like not have 90% of our like plate carbs and then 10% protein. No, let's try to have that half of our plate is food like with vegetables or the stew or the salad, another like quarter that's like the carbs, another quarter that's protein. So balance it out where you have some carbs, a good amount of protein to make you feel full, and mostly like vegetables to give you fiber. Four, pace yourself, eat slowly. Again, uh, if we eat too quickly, this allows us to sometimes take in more food than we need, because the body needs some time to, or let's say the tummy needs some time to signal to the brain that, okay, I'm starting to feel full. So if we eat too fast, this means we're taking too much food in before our brain and our body realizes that. And this also is one big precursor to weight gain. So when you're trying also to lose weight, we also need to eat slowly, and eating slowly also helps in a healthier digestion instead of stressing the body. 5 is to eat satisfaction and not until extreme fullness. Let's try to listen to our body. Sometimes, or most of the times, what we're used to feeling is that whenever like I feel stuffed, this is when I should stop eating. But this is not the correct time to stop eating. The correct time is when you're not feeling hungry anymore, but at the same time, I don't have that stuffed feeling. So I'm satisfied. Maybe it's difficult the first time to do that, or maybe I feel that I should eat more, but let me listen to my body. And I think now is the time to stop because I'm not hungry anymore. And 6 is to remember that it's not must to always have a dessert. Because again, desserts can be one way that we're taking extra sugar and calories that we don't need. We sometimes find it a bit difficult to say no, especially if we're invited somewhere, especially if it's there, if it's in front of us. But you can try to replace that by something healthier. Like, I mean, your dessert replacement can be as simple as having a fruit or maybe a fruit salad or dates again, could be 2 squares of dark chocolate. Or if you're at home, you can even try to prepare like a healthy homemade ice cream that you may prepare it only by blending some fruits with some milk, keeping it in the freezer. Here you go, you have like your easy homemade ice cream. You can have a scoop of that. But let's try to be very mindful on what we're choosing. Sometimes it's okay to skip it, or maybe to leave the dessert to a bit of a later time, to give your tummy some time to calm down, start digesting what you just ate at iftar. Now, speaking of post-iftar, again, it's very important to remember to hydrate. We have those hours since we broke the fast to hydrate. So number 1 is hydrate. 2 is stay active. Try your best to like go for walks, brisk walks, 30 minutes per day, or at least just to not stay seated the whole time. We're maybe invited to places, we jump from one place to another, but the whole time we're sitting at a table, we're sitting at a couch. So try to stay active. 3, control your environment at home. What I mean by that is that try not to have food the whole time on display or in front of you, because that makes you very prone to just like being over there, socializing with someone, and nibbling on whatever is in front of you. So iftar is done, we pack all the food, put it in the kitchen. We don't keep any snacks in front of us. If we need a snack, maybe we can then later go to the kitchen, grab whatever we need, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But or now actually it's to, let's say if you feel like having a certain dessert or maybe something that's not super healthy like a chips, it's always advised that you open the packet, put some in a plate, and then stick to that and keep the packet there. Because if you even open like a bag of seeds or chips, or you get like, or you keep the full dessert in front of you, then it's going to be very hard for you to control your portion, very hard to stop. So especially if you're trying to lose weight during Ramadan, try to control your environment. Don't keep food visible. What you need to keep visible is your water bottle, or maybe something healthy like a fruit, some cut carrots and cucumbers. Too much on. This is super low in calories. It's a great snack. Such items could be on display if needed, but other items are preferred to stay like in the kitchen or where they belong. 5 is to, oh no, sorry, back to the same point. Don't leave yourself like, I mean, if you feel hungry, don't feel like it's not wrong to take a snack, but just leave some time between like iftar and eating your next, let's say, meal or snack. And then if you feel hungry, definitely it's okay to go for a snack. Just try to be wise on what you're eating, what you're having. 6 is, of course, socialize. Post iftar is a great time to socialize. great time for your mental well-being. So try to be around a healthy ambience, healthy environment. 7, prioritize quality time with loved ones. Definitely Ramadan is a time for family, friends, the people we care about, and we're focusing on ourselves as well, not just here on our physical health, physical, mental, social health during Ramadan. Uh, 7 is to focus on inner peace, to give some time to pray and meditate. And 8, for those of you who sleep and like don't wake up for suhoor or they have suhoor in their like in the late hours, try to avoid eating and directly going to bed. So if you're not gonna wake up for suhoor later, you're gonna have your suhoor early or as like your dinner. Um, Try to eat it and then leave at least like an hour before heading to bed. Ideally, it's minimum of 2 hours, but considering it's Ramadan, it's an exception. So it's okay. The idea is not to just eat and then jump to bed. And less screen time, especially before sleep. If you want to have a good quality sleep, try to keep the phone away so that your mind and body can relax and you get into a good, deep sleep. Now for suhoor, uh, of course, again, number 1 is to hydrate. Drink a cup of water slowly, a cup or two. Uh, Number 2 is to focus on having a light meal. We don't need something too heavy at suhoor because, again, eating something that's heavy is going to disturb your sleep, going to make you feel you're going to bed with a very full tummy, very heavy feeling. You might have a hard time to sleep. And we know that it's very important to have a good quality sleep during Ramadan because our timings are different, our timing could be disturbed, work timings are different, everything's different. So it's important to focus on good quality sleep. And for that, a light meal is needed. And to, again, include complex carbs, some protein, and healthy fats. Like, for example, so you can have like a shea pudding. Shea seeds are a great source of like healthy fats. You could have like toast with eggs, avocado, and vegetables. That's totally fine, like a whole grain toast or like scrambled egg or like a boiled egg, and then you can cut a few slices of avocado next to it. That's like healthy fat. So you got your carbs, you got your protein, you got your healthy fats, and you can cut out also a lot of like vegetables next to it, and that it's gonna make you feel full, but still it's gonna be light because actually the meal is filled with fiber. It contains protein, which is gonna help you also be feeling full, and it contains the healthy fat that your body needs. And by healthy fats, by the way, you can also add, like, let's say some cashews to your oatmeal or to your shea pudding. So nuts, seeds are usually considered within the healthy fats family, but it's very important also to highlight that, again, fats are high in calories. Does not mean if something is healthy that I can have it in a big quantity. Does not mean if olive oil is healthy that I can pour a lot of olive oil into my pan or into my salad or etc. So this is something to keep in mind. 4 is to remember to take any medication or supplement that you need, as later on during the day, you tend to like, we're fasting, you cannot take medication. So if you have any medication, it's advised that you put an alarm to remind yourself, especially if you're just waking up to have suhoor, you might be forgetful and forget to take an important medication that you need, especially if you have any like chronic condition, and also any supplement that you might need. And again, I highlight the importance of keeping your phone away and limiting screen time because that could disturb you getting back to sleep again once you woke up for suhoor. You want to sleep again. A lot of us could stay watching series. We have our phones, scrolling on social media, Instagram, whatever it is. So It's best usually to limit your screen time to those hours that are post iftar and at night or when you're going to sleep, to try to keep your phone away, especially like 30 minutes before sleep, to keep your phone devices away. Hydration during Ramadan. Now, since we spoke about how our meals should go and a few tips from like uh, breaking your fast until suhoor, it's very important to highlight hydration during Ramadan because especially here in Dubai or in the GCC countries, it tends to get really hot. We get dehydrated even without knowing it. So here are a few tips for you to better hydrate yourself during Ramadan. So one is to spread 8 to 10 cups of water along your non-fasting hours. So pay attention to those hours, as we said. Keep a water bottle around you during those non-fasting hours. And especially if you're exercising, which now we're gonna talk about, it's very important to focus on an increased water intake because you perspirate a lot, you lose a lot of water during exercise. 3 is to limit intake of sugar drinks and foods high in sugar content. Again, because increasing the amount of sugar in your blood recalls for your body to use up more water. So sugar drinks and also caffeinated drinks could increase your need of water. Caffeinated drinks like coffee, like energy drinks like Red Bull or so, um, they dehydrate you because you will need to use the toilet more when you're drinking caffeinated drinks. Use the toilet more means your body's getting dehydrated, means you need to compensate for all of that water. So if you're big on coffee, especially with having desserts, then you have a dessert that's high in sugar, and then you have a coffee, and maybe you could even add sugar in your coffee. So all of those could dehydrate you without you being even conscious about it. So try to also use artificial sweeteners like stevia, whether when it's preparing like dessert or like tea or coffee, or at least limit the amount of sugar. I highlight limiting the amount of sugar again. And 6 is to also increase your fluid intake through food. So we know that foods have a certain amount of water content, right? So one way is when you start your iftar or break your fast with soup. Another way is to include foods higher in water content like fruits and vegetables. For example, watermelon, pineapples, tomatoes, cucumbers. So such fruits and vegetables, they're high in water content. Does not mean, again, we go overboard on anything. If fruits and vegetables like are healthy, if fruits are healthy, does not mean we can also have like a big plate of different amount of fruits all at once, and especially the sweet fruits that have like a higher fructose content. We need to take care, again, especially if you're someone who's pre-diabetic or diabetic. So there goes more details into your choice of food when like having a chronic condition. So we could also do like personalized coaching, nutrition coaching for that. And finally, I'd like to speak about obviously staying fit in Ramadan. Uh, what time do you think is best for exercising? So some people might say it's morning for them. Some people might say right before iftar. Some people might say after iftar. I would tell you my advice is the time that suits you and your body best. Like check in with yourself, check in with your body. Some people might think it's best before iftar, or no, I have to challenge myself, do it before iftar. No, you don't. If you're feeling too tired or you're too dizzy, it might actually be too dangerous. Again, especially if you have any chronic condition, don't do that. If you're feeling too tired or too dizzy, leave it till after iftar. And don't remain sedentary, as we said before, during the non-fasting hours. Uh, does not mean like if I do 30 minutes of also walking that I could sit for another 9 hours, not move at all. So try to set a step target. So other than trying to go for at least like a 30-minute walk on 5 days a week, maybe you set a step target of 7,000 steps that you try to reach just by walking around during the day. And you don't have to do that during uh, non the fasting hours. Obviously, during the fasting hours, it's good just to move to like move your muscles, move your body, but don't do any like excessive or vigorous activity, especially if you're tired. But focus on rather doing that during the non-fasting hours. What type of exercise to do? So here it depends really on your goals. Usually a mix of cardio and resistance exercise is best because you're including the two most like important aspects. Cardio is good for your heart health. Resistance is good to maintain your muscles. And but if your goal is to like build muscle, maybe you need to do more of weightlifting, weight training. If your goal is to lose weight, it's best to focus on a mix of both. Um, if you don't have much energy, maybe you can go for something that's low intensity or some yoga, and also practice stretching in the non-fasting hours because we tend to set a lot. A lot of people tend to sleep for most of the day. So it's very important to take care of our muscle health, our bone health, our muscle health. So it's very good, especially if you're sitting also in the office, to get up, to stretch your arms, your legs, have just a small walk. Don't stay sedentary all of the time. Also at night, if you're sitting to watch series, Ramadan series, or socializing with friends, it's important to stay active in general. Um, Lastly, I would like to speak about mental health in Ramadan. Um, if you feel like sharing, like what you do in Ramadan to take care of your mental health, please feel free to share with us on the chat box. From my side, I believe it's an important time to focus on spirituality, obviously, to pray, recite the Quran, to some meditation, take time to reflect on yourself, on your actions, the things you do. Like Ramadan is a perfect time for that. You can take time for that maybe before breaking your fast or during the non-fasting hours to think about like what you're doing at work, on yourself as a person, what things you need to work on. Spread positive vibes. Obviously, Ramadan is a great time to cheer people up, spread positive vibes, practice patience. Patience is very important, especially during the non-fasting hours. We tend to sometimes say that like don't test my patience, or oh my god, I'm fasting, don't talk to me, or don't make me angry. But actually this is the right time to like work on ourselves and to be patient also when driving. We all tend to drive home like crush super fast and get ourselves like, God forbid, like into accidents just because we're really hungry and we drive like crazy. So it's very important to always remind yourself, it's okay, I'm gonna go home right now. I'm gonna take care of other people on the road, not just myself. I need to drive uh, in a safe way, let's say. Set self-improvement goals. Again, it's a good time to maybe journal down some thoughts, some goals. What do you want to work on during this month? What you're trying to achieve, maybe for the coming days of the year. We know that we have shorter working hours in Ramadan. This leaves us more time to pay attention to ourselves and have some like self-care, self-attention, set goals for the future, start working on them. Uh, volunteer in your community. We know that volunteering does not just give positive vibes and help those people around us, but it also gives us a very good feeling. So whether it's like by um, donating or feeding the poor or going on such walks or feeding the people in the streets at the time of the breaking fast. Try to do at least one event of volunteering just to give back to the community for your own also spiritual and mental well-being. And the last tip would be to focus on healthy environments and relationships. It's important to surround ourselves with people who benefit us, people who are healthy for us. If there's some environment you're not comfortable with, or people who you think are toxic, it's always okay to say no to like socialize here or hanging out with those. Or also sometimes you can feel that you're invited every single day to a different gathering, so it's getting very overwhelming. So it's okay to say no at certain plans, to stay home that day, to give yourself some time to like switch off and power up or recharge your batteries, let's say, or your social batteries. And yeah, this is my last tip for you. And finally, I just like to, uh, before leaving the floor for questions and answers, is that I want you to like take Ramadan, take the chance to start your journey towards being a healthier you today. Feel free to call and book your consultation with me. I'll be more than happy to help you achieve your goals, whether it's weight loss or differently. We can work on that now during Ramadan. I can give you more personalized coaching, how to do that, whether it's improving your chronic conditions in terms of your cholesterol levels, sugar levels, or hypertension, or whatever it is, or if you have some food intolerances, I'll be more than happy to help you get through with that and follow up with you and help you reach your goals. So thank you so much for listening. I really hope you liked today's session. I hope it was light, not boring. I'm going to leave the floor for any questions you might have. You can use the chat. You're welcome to everyone who's saying thank you. I appreciate that. What is the suitable age for kids to start fasting? Well, if you ask me personally, I wouldn't say before the age of like 16 or at least teenagers. Again, kids are growing until they reach that like 18. Until 18 is like very important stage of life for them. But definitely, I wouldn't say anyone that's like not a teenager, definitely not to go there. But once they're between 16 to 18, they're adults, they're more responsible of their choices. And it has to be also left like for them to handle their fasting. So yeah. We have another question from Sally. What is the best oil you recommend for cooking? So basically, uh, I wouldn't like recommend just like one specific type of oil. I would say, for example, use olive oil. Let's say it's the best when you're preparing salads, when you're uh, maybe preparing some eggs or doing something that you're not cooking on a very high heat or high temperature. Yes, olive oil would be my first choice. But otherwise, like when cooking, you could still use the usual oil that you use, the sunflower oil or so, but my main or most important point here is how much oil we are using, because oil gives off, or fats in general gives off many calories. I wouldn't like suggest going to coconut oil or so, but or also I would suggest not to use ghee and to avoid butter. Oil is fine. We all need to use some oil to cook. Try to use the air fryer when possible, and just reduce the amount of oil when cooking. Um, Fatin is again asking, what is the suitable time to do some exercise before or after iftar? Okay, again, to highlight this again, if I would want you to exercise in the time that you feel you can commit best to your exercise and the time that you have the best energy. All right. So if you feel you're more like you're well energized before iftar, go ahead. But otherwise, I would say do it after iftar. It's safer, let's say. You would have eaten the meal. It could also help you digesting the meal. So if I am to choose between before and after iftar, I would maybe more go for after iftar. Thank you all for your nice words. In COVID positive cases, how to manage fasting? Um, Honestly, I don't think fasting is suggested if you're having COVID or and you're feeling too tired. I do not suggest to fast. Is it okay to use non-sticking oil instead of oil? Uh, yeah, that's fine. I'm not sure what you mean by the non-sticking oil, to be honest. Um, Thoughts on protein shakes? Protein shakes, definitely post exercise, not before exercise. If you're gonna exercise, you can have your protein shake after exercise. But again, if you're able to take your protein intakes through food, I always prefer to go natural. Uh, Usually, a nice question, Diana. Usually with fasting, the metabolism goes down. How can we avoid such thing to help lose weight during Ramadan? Um, Try to stay active, I would say, during the non-fasting hours, like in a way that keep moving. If you're sitting at a desk, get up, have a 5-10 minute walk. Again, nothing too tiring, but just stay active during the day. During the non-fasting hours, also make sure to exercise and spread your intake. Don't like have just iftar and that's it for the rest of the day. Have like your iftar, a small snack, your suhoor. Go for your meals. Hiba is saying, I missed it. Is there a recorded version? I think yes, there's gonna be a recorded. It is recorded and can be shared. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. Abdurrahman, sometimes the non-sticking oil in a pan instead of butter, so we don't add oil in the pan. Yes, yes, you can do that. And you know what I would also use? I would use a non-stick pan itself. Like when I prepare like scrambled eggs, I don't even use oil. I just use a non-stick pan, cooks perfectly. I avoid any type of oil. So um, I'm gonna leave for you our Ramadan Kareem, obviously, first of all. Wish you all a healthy fasting season filled with blessings. I'm gonna leave for you our QR code to download our app, available on the App Store, Google Play, and App Gallery, or dial our toll-free number on 800 TruDoc, which is 800-878-362. If you'd like to book your consultation with me, go on a Ramadan weight loss program or any weight loss program in general, even post Ramadan. I could also help you with different types of programs, like people who want to take care of their diabetes or chronic conditions or improving their cholesterol. A lot of you might be taking medicines for that, but once we work on adjusting your lifestyle and your diet habits, you can get rid of those medicines one day and get your cholesterol back to normal levels, your sugar back to lower normal levels. You can get rid of your hypertension. I've had many patients who lost a really good amount of weight and their hypertension was gone, or they stopped using the cholesterol medicine. So I highly advise you to reach out. Also for mothers who are planning to get pregnant or who are pregnant or they'd like to lose weight after giving birth, also please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help with that, with pediatric nutrition, with your kids, with picky eaters, anything. I'm here to help with smoking cessation if you're looking forward to stop smoking. Uh, Also, I'm more than happy to help with any also stress management and any eating disorders. I'm here to help you. Just call and book your initial consultation and we'll speak then. Thank you all very much for joining today and Ramadan Kareem once again. I hope you all enjoyed the session. Thank you very much.